Hi, and welcome to DIYInjuryRehab.com. What is tennis elbow? Part 2, by myself, Ian Constable. And, more importantly, how to fix it for only $3.99. So make sure you stay to the end and find out how to fix it for only $3.99. Or, alternatively, at any time you can click the link below. So, here's a list of what causes tennis elbow pain. And rather than put them one at a time, we'll just put them all up in a winner. So you've got the obvious tennis, racket sports, badminton, anything that involves gripping. And that would include painting and decorating using hand tools, saw, screwdriver, hammer, and also power tools, drill, sanders, sitting at your desk, typing using your mouse and your keyboard, water sports that involve gripping, prolonged intricate movements of the hands, so doing a lot of sewing or knitting or using scissors or some craft work using a knife, and also climbing and gripping sports such as judo. Okay, so let's consider a few of these. If we take tennis, between nearly half of all tennis players have experienced tennis elbow pain at least once. And for many it can persist, and it can affect obviously their participation in their sport. The classic example of cause is the sort of single backhand, which is why you see so many professional players now doing a double-handed backhand. And if you look at this picture from a few years ago, look at the shape of the ball and the strings. So you can see the strings are getting stretched, the ball is compressed to half its size. So you imagine the force involved to do that to the ball. And then look at the elbow position, the shoulders out straight, the elbows jammed out, and look at her wrist position. Okay, so wrist position, to control the ball, she needs to control her wrist position. And it's these muscles in the back of your forearm, and especially extensor carpi radialis brevis, that's controlling the thumb side of the hand there. And that's the one that gets under pressure, and that's why repetitive hitting of balls causes tennis elbow. Novice tennis players are more prone to tendinitis, probably due to their poor technique and incorrect muscle activation with the backhand and their service. So it's this lack of correct muscle activation that results in increased force transmission to the extensor carpi radialis brevis tendon, so your tennis elbow, and leads to this micro trauma. Lots and lots of tiny injuries. And as we showed you on the slide earlier, the degenerative changes in the tendon. Okay, so let's think of some other things. Painting and decorating. Again, just look at the hand position there. If you're moving from left to right in that picture, then the wrist tries to bend, and you're using this muscle to try and control your wrist position. So it's constantly under pressure. And if you think of all the sanding, scraping, filling, and then the brushwork. Yeah. So you can see how that's going to aggravate it. So painting with a brush or a roller involves lots of repetitive movements. You're doing the same thing hundreds and hundreds of times. And obviously this is worse if you're not used to it. So if you decide to do some DIY over the weekend and it's not something you do every day, then you're not used to doing it. And that can cause major problems. Let's think of other DIY tasks, the saw and things like that. So if you've got to grip tightly, you're having to control the wrist position to get a straight cut. Yeah, so you can see again, look at the wrist position, look how much control is required there to control the blade of the saw. Yep, and large forces can be involved, and funnily enough, it's quite repetitive. You're doing the same thing back and forwards. And it's very easy to get quickly fatigued if you're not used to it. And fatigue leads to injury. And likewise, when you use any power tools, you need to keep control of where it's pointing and absorb any vibrations. And this is done at the wrist and the hand. So again, you can see gripping too tightly, trying to get too much done, especially if you're not used to doing it. And doing it for a long period of time can again lead to overuse and micro trauma in the tendon. Day-to-day tasks, using your keyboard. I think we're all much better than we used to be maybe 10-15 years ago. We know roughly how we should be sitting properly, and if not, ask at your place of employment. there should be somebody who can show you how to set up your desk properly. Okay, if the position of the keyboard or the mouse means that the wrists are either cocked up or flexed, bent over for any period of time, then that leads to increased stress on the forearm tendons at the elbow. In the same way, if you're reaching out for the mouse or the keyboard, that can also cause arm pain. So it's important that you adjust the height of your keyboard and the position of your keyboard, and that you keep your forearms parallel to the floor. That's a good rule of thumb. Try not to have your forearms pointing up or down, and your wrists should be fairly neutral. But as I say, there should be somebody in your workplace who knows exactly how to set it up properly and should be able to give you advice. Another cause of elbow pain that we perhaps haven't touched on is limited elbow movements. So that is, does your elbow fully bend or does it fully straighten? And if it doesn't do either of those, then because these muscles cross over the elbow joint, that leads to increased tension in the muscle. So generally, if it doesn't straighten, it's a soft tissue problem, and there's some shortening of the muscles or the ligaments around your elbow joint. And these restrictions need to be fixed before your tennis elbow will improve. Okay, so if you've got a stiff elbow, your tennis elbow's not going to get better. So just compare, does it go straight, does it fully bend? And when you suffer pain or restriction around your elbow, there will always be some sort of muscle imbalance present. And this is a diagram of the front of your elbow. It's the left arm, and that's your sort of biceps tendon, the big red one in the front. But you can see all these muscles are all in the front, and your tennis elbow muscles are all in the back. Okay, so if the muscles in the back are overactive, your tennis elbow muscles, then we need to try to get them to relax. Likewise, if they're not working properly, then we need to try and stimulate them to work properly and work at the right time. And strengthening weak muscles is important. But it's also important that we stretch out and we exercise the muscles in the front of your forearm as well, because the front and the back work together. So if one's tight, one goes slack and loose. If one's slack and loose, the other becomes overactive. So there's a balancing act between front and back, inside and outside. And it's very important that we have this balance and we restore this balance, especially if we've had tennis elbow for any length of time. We're going to split the video here. So in part 3, we're going to deal with why do exercises work and why does a simple, effective exercise work. So stop here and go to part 3. If not, okay, it's very simple. One simple, effective exercise. Once you learn how to do it, you don't need any equipment. So you don't need anything at all. It can be done anywhere. You can do it in the house, sitting in your home. You can do it at the office. You can do it sitting in your car, sitting at traffic lights or whatever. Okay? And it's been filmed. We filmed it for both your left elbow and your right elbow. So if you do buy this, you get the choice for your left elbow or for your right elbow. And you're sent a couple of videos. The first one's maybe 5-6 minutes long, and it shows you exactly how to do the exercise. It takes you through exactly what you should be doing. It looks very simple, it is very simple, but it needs to be done in the right order, in the right sequence, with the right amount of pressure. Okay, and we give you several views. So you look at it from the side, you look at it from the front, you literally look at it over my shoulder. So you see me showing you how to do the exercise, and I carefully explain what you need to do, and more importantly, what you need not to do. You don't need to do this to get the best results. And all you have to do is watch that video a couple of times, work out exactly how to do it, and it's as simple as that. You will be totally pain-free. Right? We operate a guarantee. So there's a 30 money back policy. So if you're not happy at all, you can get your $3.99 back. Simple as that. So if it doesn't work for you, we do it through PayPal and you get your money refunded immediately. So there's no risk to you whatsoever. And as I say, it's only $3.99. So when I say there's no risk, the exercises are supposed to hurt a little bit. So they have to be done into some pain. So you need to be prepared to put up with a little bit of discomfort. Okay? So this is one of those real life situations where it is no pain, no gain. Okay, everybody talks about that. This is actually one of those. So it has to be uncomfortable and slightly painful. If it's not, you're not doing it properly. But we'll explain all of that in the video. It's Very straightforward. Okay, so this is one simple exercise, $3.99. Okay, that's about the price of a cappuccino, certainly here in Glasgow, for a pain-free elbow. Okay, all you need to do is click on the link below. Thanks for listening, and click that link, please.